I've never had a runner's high before, but I did find at about minute 4.5, I reached this euphoric feeling in my brain that I haven't felt from running ever. Boom! Boom! What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, TigerFitness.com. So I do sprint. I usually go once a week when I can, when I'm not traveling on weekends for wrestling tournaments, for my kids, whatever. I like to go to the park. I like to do 40-yard dash. I'll normally do 10 to 20, depending on how many other movements I do. So I've always wanted to make it this thing to start running a mile multiple times a week. And I always get caught up in this quest for hypertrophy, right? Now I'm always like, I'm gonna get bigger, I'm gonna get bigger, I'm gonna get bigger, so I'm gonna put this off. But I think I need to blend the two, and let me explain. Number one is I'm 44 years old. My days of getting bigger, this is about all you're gonna see from the kid. In fact, my goal is just not to lose size. I'm not willing to take what it takes to grow at this age, and I'm just being real. Like, I think I've hit my maximum genetic potential of muscle growth for what I'm willing to do to get there, and I'm not going more, that's for sure. I'm just gonna stick to my TRT, 150 milligrams a week, and that's it. That's all I want to do. I have no aspirations above where I'm at now, and that's cool. But I always train to grow. I love doing that. So I actually decided to click it in. I was at a wrestling tournament in Colorado for my son. Big PNL tournament, the best wrestlers in the country. It was amazing. We went to the Air Force Academy, got a wrestling training session in there, and then went to Olympic Training Center and got to watch the best wrestlers in the world. It was great. So I had an option in the morning. One was to spend $20 there and back in Ubering because we were driving in team vans, right? So to go to the gym, come back, I'd have to wake up super early. It was a 24-hour fitness, thankfully, so I wouldn't be able to do it. Or the hotel gym. They had dumbbells up to 45. They had a cable crossover machine. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get a little extra sleep and I'm going to get it in. And that morning, I'm like, you know what? This workout, I'm not really going to push myself, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jog. So I warmed up with 5 minutes on the treadmill, and then I was just walking, and then I ran. I jogged for a mile. Took me about 8.5 minutes. It wasn't the fastest jog. Okay, I'm not trying to break any records. And then I cooled down for 5 minutes, then I did my workout. I felt great. And I got to thinking about why we should all run. Number one is it's ingrained in us as human beings. We are bipeds. We are unique species where we run on 2 legs. And running throughout history is something that humans should be able to do. You should be able to run. Now, I'm not saying become an ultra marathoner. That becomes like, that becomes the bodybuilding versus competing, right? Bodybuilding in and of itself, training, overloading, providing load on your body, that's extremely healthy. That will lead to a longer, healthier, better life. However, training to compete, whether natural or enhanced, is going to put you in a place where it becomes unhealthy because getting down to those obscenely low body fat levels on competition day, the months and months of vigorous prep, the bulking, right? You basically go from being binging to starving, binging to starving, binging to starving. So very few people can stay lean year round near that contest prep level. And to build muscle, you do need to overeat. A lot of people do. So put that into perspective. Running is fine. And I've said before, I've never met a runner, a competitive runner, or someone who runs a lot. I'm talking about miles a day, putting tens of 20s and dozens and hundreds sometimes of miles a week. They're gonna have tons of issues, right? Plantar issues, they're gonna have issues with their hips, issues with their knees, issues with joints, because every time you strike the ground, that's providing, I believe, somewhere around 10 times your body weight in force. There's arguments of how much, depending on running style, et cetera, et cetera. Let's talk about pre-workouts. See, a lot of them just get you spiked and then you crash. The crash is crazy. When I take a pre-workout, I don't want my heart beating out of my chest. I can't do a set to failure with that. No, I want something that gets me focused. I want my mind to just go, I'm gonna get all the weight. I want my body to feel like I can go crush it, make the gains of my life. That's why the pre-workout I use is Ambrosia Kinetic. Ambrosia Kinetic is the greatest mushroom-enhanced mind and body performance booster pre-workout ever created. Go to TigerFitness.com now. That's TigerFitness.com. Coupon code MAHA, M-A-H-A, MAHA. MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. And you get 10% off, not just Kinetic, but the entire site. Go to tigerfitness.com now, save and make the gains you've been wanting. But shouldn't we all be able to run a mile a day? Shouldn't that be something we should all be able to do as human beings? Now, I'm not talking about people who have injuries, people who have terrible knee replacements, people who are in wheelchairs. That's silly. I'm not going there. I'm talking about able-bodied human beings who don't have any injuries that prevent them from doing so. Should we not all be able to run a mile? And let's say under 9 minutes. I think 9 minutes is fair, right? I could do that now. I haven't run in a long time. I do sprint, and I do a lot of the air bike. I bought a Rogue... I bought a Rogue assault bike, one of those things, and I'm just crushing on that thing, Echo bike. I do that about 2 times a week for Tabata. So my cardiovascular is in great shape, but I found that my gait and everything from not running for a while, it's not the best. I also found that being that I have so much fast twitch muscle fiber in my body, that I start to get a little bit sore from running because my body's used to pounding out 4 to 8 reps. So running is repetitious and my body is not good at high repetition. It's just not the way I'm trained. It's not the way I'm built. I remember when I played football, I remember they made the linemen, usually in the middle of practice, just to rub it in that we're fat. They used to make us run around the field, just one lap. Not a gasser, but an actual lap around the field. I can run a gasser all day. I can sprint all day long. I could sprint 20, 30, 40. Gassers are normally 110s. I was fine. But you get me running around that field, my calves used to cramp like crazy. They just be achy. I'm like, why is it that when I do this lower intensity jogging, I get these issues that I don't get in high intensity running? So I'm at that age where I'm like, I want to be able to do everything good or average or slightly better. And I want to do the things I do great, really, really good or great, like lifting, like bodybuilding, like competing. Those are things I want to do. But as I look into how to create the perfect human, how to create the perfect Marc Lobliner, how to create the perfect version of me, perfect meaning imperfect, but perfect for me, meaning as close to perfection as possible. Now I do everything. I do the sauna. I do the cold plunge. I don't get massage. I probably should. I just don't. I never can find the time. So I do all these things for optimization of my body, for optimization of my mind, for optimization of my health. I take my ambrosia nectar every morning, take my MTS Nutrition Immortal every morning. I eat high protein. I eat a lot of veggies. I eat a lot of fruit. Like I'm doing all the stuff to be biohacked, right? All the stuff. But I know there's an argument of sprints versus low intensity, like visceral adipose tissue. We found that sprinting's probably better at reducing visceral adipose tissue. I'm not worried about that. I'm still going to get my sprints in. But to take, let's say 12 minutes, if I warm up, to take 12 minutes a day to jog at a leisurely pace, 8 to 9 minutes is pretty leisurely. You're not booking, right? 7 minutes, I can't do that right now. 8 minutes, not gonna lie, 8.5, 9 minute mile, that was hard because I haven't done it in a long time. So I'm gonna set a goal to be able to run. I encourage you to try and do some with me. Now, don't start out with a mile. That's what I recommend. That was dumb of me because my hips were a little bit sore. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not used to it. I could sprint on grass, but running on surface or on a treadmill is different for me because I'm not used to it. My body is also heavy and I train a lot. So there's also a lot of, a lot of built up like fatigue within my body. So I recommend starting at a quarter of a mile. That's one lap around the track. That's a quarter of a mile. If it takes you 4 minutes, so be it. If you're doing what Marc Bell says, just a nice little light jog, that's great. But I did find, I've never had a runner's high before, but I did find at about minute 4.5, I reached this euphoric feeling in my brain that I haven't felt from running ever. When I sprint, I hate it because I'm going about 85%. I don't want to tear a hamstring. So I'm going about 85, but I do find that as we get older, or even if you're just focusing on one thing, let's say bodybuilding, you tend to lose track of what else matters, the other primal things your body was meant to do. And that's why I've had issues with my adduction. I've had issues. I had that strained hip flexor that's still bothering me right now because I was so focused on hypertrophy that when I do coach, when I'm not actually training myself, but I'm training others, that's when I hurt my hip flexor. I was demonstrating a get off on a 40-yard dash for one of our football players from when they're at the combine or at whatever showcase they're doing. And I got off and I felt a little thing in my, and I was like, that's fine, I'll walk it off. I'm not a pussy, right? And then it's been bugging me for 5 weeks. For 5 weeks, I haven't been able, I went to get into the decline ab machine and I went to lift my leg over. I couldn't get enough distance between, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I had to climb on something else to get onto the D. That's not acceptable. And the reason it got there is because I was so focused on one thing that the other movement patterns went away. So jogging is something we should all be able to do. Whether you do it once a week or what I'm doing because I'm an idiot, doing it 5 to 7 times a week, it's something we should do. But like I said, start with a quarter mile, work up to a half, and get yourself up to where you're doing a mile multiple times a week. And I'm not saying you have to go beyond that. That could be the benchmark. Like, hey, that way you can fit that in. No one can't fit that in. No one doesn't have the time to do that. Everyone here can do that. You don't need equipment. That's the thing about running. To run, you basically need shoes. And even that's arguable. There's barefoot runners. You don't need equipment. You don't need to buy anything. You just need to run. The time investment is very low. You go to the gym, you have to drive there, you have to set up, you have to warm up, you have to do all this, go to the bathroom. Running, you literally put on your shorts and your shirt and you friggin' run. It's not that hard. So that's why I'm doing it. For health, yeah, there are cardiovascular benefits. I don't know how my cardio can get more healthy. As far as, blood work and VO2 max, it can obviously, but I'm already in that optimal range. I got a resting heart rate in the mid 40s, 44 to 46. Like I'm really doing well health marker wise. But again, as a human being being able to move as a biped, I think I can do better. So that's why I'm running. Hopefully you join me. And comment down below if you run, why you run, and if you're not running, if you're gonna plan on starting to run, comment down below. It helps the algorithm. Even if you don't wanna do it, please do it just to help me. Also, tigerfitness.com, please go there. We have MTS Nutrition Ruckus coming back in stock today. Ruckus is our high stim, high intensity pre-workout. It is available now. And it is an amazing pre-workout. Go to tigerfitness.com, use coupon code MAHA. M-A-H-A, MAHA, gets you 10% off the entire site. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, click on the notification bell, because running, because you're a biped, that's not a game.